A big part of reinvention or starting over is questioning the stories that we tell ourselves, where they came from, and rewriting that script. A lot of time is spent sort of realizing that you have inherited a role that was created to play small, created to not step on toes, to not ruffle feathers, to be in the background, and be pleasant and people pleasing. And you realize that all of those layers, as you peel off layer by layer, how much fear has made your decisions and how much that has informed parts of your personality, your surroundings, things that you possess, your relationships, And if you stay the course, you will rediscover the voice that you've always had that just has all this gunk like caked on top of it. So, that's what we're going to talk about today. That's what we're going to talk about today because that's sort of like where I'm steeped. My name is Jasmine, and I'm in the process of rediscovering, peeling off all of those layers, leaving my W 2 position, closing down my farm, um, leaving my house here in the States, and moving abroad to Spain. And I'm here to document that journey, especially to look back and see what it took in the process of betting on myself, like for myself. This is sort of like a video diary that I want the world to witness. Isn't that so fun? Great. A lot of the stories that we inherit, of course, come from childhood. Like our childhood, it starts really early. You inherit and learn behavior based on what is modeled around you, right? Like I remember this time I was a teenager. I was still trying to find my style. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to find my style. It really alternated between like really flowy and like pretty to like tight clothes, sort of like like hoochie cute, whatever. So I was going out to eat one day with like friends and family, and I had this like blue, I remember it was like this blue maxi dress. It was like really long. I think no, it was a maxi skirt. Is that a thing? And a white shirt, and I had like beads in my hair that were blue that matched my skirt, and these cute little sandals, and I did my hair. I was just so cute and like ready to go go out to eat. And then I came out, and then my mom was like, "Oh my goodness, wow, like you're so beautiful." And I was like, "Wow, thank you, mom." And she was like, "Yeah, girl, you have to go change." And I was like, "Why?" And she was saying, "Because you don't want to trigger any insecurities in anybody else." Like just straight like that. This wasn't cake, this wasn't covert, this wasn't anything, like you do not want to trigger any insecurities in other people that we're going out with. And so you should go change your clothes and tame it down because we're just going out to eat to enjoy ourselves. Like you don't want to cause any problems straight like that. And I had to go change my clothes, and then I went, in just some like regular workout clothes, I think. And that became so, so, so ingrained in how I moved, like because there would be this dynamic tension between, oh, I want to share myself like open and freely and explore different styles, explore different ideas, explore different conversations, um, and dreams and like all of this stuff. And all of it took the course of, oh, nope, you don't want to trigger anything in anybody else, and if you want to be seen as like amicable and like easy to be around, then you will be quiet and you'll conform just so that you don't make anybody feel bad. And I'm thinking, I'm a good person. I love the Lord. So not only am I going to be obedient to my mom, right? Questionable at times as a teenager, but I did have these thoughts though. They weren't not there. Okay. And I want to please the Lord. I want to please my mom. I want to, yeah, like have good relationships. And so I'm not going to do XYZ. And that's what I mean. about like having this inherited fear or inherited ways really determine like how you move about the world. And over time, that creates a life from that learned behavior instead of from who I was as a person growing up, you know? And this is nothing against my mom, of course, right? Because my mom is one person of like millions of people that are in this world. And if we're in this world, we're being influenced. And this is long before the term like influencer or the culture of influencing became more pronounced. Maybe it's heavier, or I think maybe it's just different, but then how human influence has existed in the past centuries. But it's just so important to delineate like, is this behavior, is this thought, is this idea, is this way of communicating me, or is it somebody else's way of things that I can recognize and appreciate? They're on their journey and I'm on mine, but the way that I want to move is ABC instead of XYZ. You feel me? um there was this time a little bit more recently, and I'm painting these pictures too so that like you can think of what, like think of scenarios, think of conversations where it'll be easier to pinpoint, you know, like, oh yeah, maybe perhaps I learned this here. um Perhaps I had this insecurity or vulnerability that enhanced my likelihood to adopt this way of thinking or this belief, right? And so more recently, you know, I talked about in my other video my experience with farming. So I'm here on my farm. Maybe you can see my cats and chickens running in the background. I purchased a farm in late 2024, and um, long dream. I could talk about this for a long time. I was just reading some other journals of mine from like 10 years ago, just envisioning what my farm would look like, right? And now here I am on a Pennsylvanian farm, which is beautiful. I would love to talk more about that soon. But um so yeah, just had purchased the farm almost 2 years ago at this point, and really knew that I did not want to farm vegetables anymore. You know, like the profit margins are lower than I would like. The labor is so intensive. All of the materials and inputs are out of this world, especially if you're converting what has been perennial pasture to like annual cropping systems, which is not ideal. But if you did want to do that, it takes a lot of time and a lot of materials and labor costs. And energy. It's just exhausting, child. And so anyway, I was like, I know that I want to do this in a way where I am writing tons and tons of grants, right? Like, so I want to do programming on a farm where I don't have to be so reliant on sales and productivity. This theme actually is like so interesting because this is the theme of my life, but just outside of farming. I don't want to exhaust myself. I want to build a system where I'm not so exhausted, where I can depend, where I can still do the things that I enjoy without having to be like imprisoned by them. There's the theme. So yeah, so I put myself on this plan, this very structured plan where I would write anywhere from 5 to 8 grants per month. I think I paid for a subscription, like a $45 subscription to that grants thing. Oh gosh, I'll put it up on the screen if I remember it. But paid for that subscription, was reading all of these testimonials where it was just like, yeah, I paid like $45 a month and it really paid off because we got millions and millions of dollars in grant funding. And I was like, you know what? I claim that. I'm going to do the same. So I'm writing corporate grants. I'm writing foundation grants. I'm writing state government grants. I'm writing federal grants. I'm forming partnerships with local tribes, local organizations, local farms, local food policy councils, right? In writing these grants so that I can get out of uh, annual cropping systems, and but still grow veggies for the purposes of like education or donation or workforce development or just other lenses. Anyway, so I was doing that, and I remember this one like a couple months in. I had written it 3 days before it was due, and it was awarded a state government grant for $400,000 just a couple months into my grant writing journey, right? Huge. Okay. Huge. Really big deal. I'm so happy. I've been journaling about owning a farm. I've been journaling about the struggles of like selling vegetables at a farmer's market. And if it rains, people just won't show up. And then you just wasted your time. You wasted your staff's time and you shouldn't have harvested the vegetables that wouldn't have sold. Okay. So I'm journaling about all these things. My dreams are coming true. Oh my gosh. Yay. Right. So, and then I remember saying like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to share with people, like that have been with me on this wild, wild journey of like farm ownership and farm renting and CSA memberships and farmers markets and growing and staff turnover, like this whole journey with me to share with them that this not only is on the city level, but now it's going to be regional. And now there's all of these other, like threads in there of workforce development and just like agroforestry education and yeah, like habitat restoration, environmental evaluation. Like there's just so many threads that are tied together because this grant was achieved. So I'm excited, right? And the first person that I told, oh, I want you to guess. I want you to guess down in the comments what I was told and what I listened to, which maybe is the bigger nugget to this whole story, right? No, don't post it. Don't tell anybody. It's way too soon. No, 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 no. You're going to make people feel uncomfortable. And then I, being an adult now, said, can you tell me a little bit more? Just tell me more, like let's unpack this. There were broken sentences talking about like fear and control and just regret and this and that. And I listened. I listened because I'm not trying to paint myself as an op. I'm not trying to paint myself as an op, as someone who is not approachable or like integratable or relatable or like I'm not trying to paint myself as that. And over the months, that was a year ago now, I waited a couple months, eventually began talking about it, and eventually the news got out of my control because this person shared in order to control the narrative and like like in retrospect is 2020, like hindsight is 2020. So anyway, I didn't get to break the news and like share in the way that I wanted. And I take accountability for that as well because I too was sort of like influenced by fear. But in retrospect, like as I think about it, it's like maybe it's a good thing to be triggered. Maybe it's a good thing to have your ruffles feathered, your feathers ruffled. Maybe because it's like this grant, obtaining the farm, is a demonstration that what you want is actually achievable. It's actually achievable. And there's a lot of comfort behind um, thinking that it's not. And you're immobilized. And because you don't see, because it's not demonstrated to many people that what they specifically want is doable outside of this like pretty picture of just like, yeah, I pushed myself really hard and then I got it. No, like a realistic picture of it, it's easy to hide behind the unknown and then go through your course of life always thinking about something but never doing it because we're comfortable in the thought, in the story, that it's insurmountable, that it's hard, and that it's impossible, really. I know sometimes I feel like triggered myself, like when I see folks doing the thing that I want to do. And because I'm tired of visualizing it, I'm tired of looking at it, researching it, I'm ready to do it. And that frustration comes out in like, icky feelings. But maybe that's a good thing because it's giving that activation energy necessary to take the steps and find gratification in each and every step that we take versus just all the milestones that are share worthy or that are like ooh and ah worthy or even just like what we define as satisfying. We have to think, we have to perceive each and every step as satisfying and celebration worthy, you know? And yeah, the last thing that I'll say is that like none of us are exempt from being controlled by fear to some extent, right? It's just a matter of like recognizing that that is what is controlling you and taking steps to oppose it and go in a different direction. Like a big part of why I'm even documenting this on YouTube is to be seen, not having all of the answers, be seen and like using my voice. Like a big part of social anxiety is just like thinking about what the person will think about me or like what their internal so ridiculous now that I'm saying it out loud, like what their internal dialogue will be about what I'm saying, to the point where it distracts me enough that I trip over my words and see that I trip over my words and I see people's like thoughts and eyes trail away and not pay attention because I'm not getting my point across, right? So that makes me feel like what I have to say because I have a hard time getting ideas out sometimes that is either not interesting or like not worth engaging with me or just like not whatever, like being patient for thoughts to fully form. It's nobody's responsibility to do that, like whatever. I'm working on myself, but like a big part of like being seen, not having it all together is so liberating because that's what's trapped me for a long time. And I often feel that like somebody could post a video of like making toast or something online, and it doesn't matter that it's a video of a person making toast. There will be fighting in the comments. There will be attacks to the person who's making the toast in the comments. There will be defenders in the comments of the person making the toast. People are going to say what people are going to say. I'm afraid, not afraid, but just like maybe for lack of a better word, I use that word maybe for a reason, but just like I, for like people from different parts of my life seeing this channel or like seeing my videos, seeing my thoughts, and just like imagining what they might be thinking, what they might be feeling, like judgments or comments or whatever, and it's just sort of like, oh my gosh, releasing all of that is so liberating. And seeing the comments or people's internal dialogues as like exposure therapy. Because it's like while a person could say one thing while you're at a certain stage, like once you like make it whatever that looks like to you or to the other person, they're going to be like, yo, I was with this person from the beginning, like their whole script will change. And I've seen that happen with me, like when I'm being scrappy trying to get stuff off the ground. People are saying like, oh, she thinks she's this, she thinks she's that, da 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 da, like, you know what I'm saying? And then right when I am on National Geographic, oh yeah, Jasmine, like, yeah, this is my, yeah, you know what I'm saying, like, da da da. So anywhere that there's people, there will be conflict, and that includes online. And so why not just jump in? That's what I'm saying. Anyway, feeling your fear of being seen, it's just like the days are going to tick regardless. And so why not just jump into the pool and learn how to swim and be seen trying to swim, and then eventually you're going to be swimming, and then you're going to be like, oh man, instead of this pool, I'm trying to go to the ocean, and then you're going to be in the ocean. Do you understand? Do you pick up what I'm putting down? I'm looking forward to updating you on how my subsequent calls went with my immigration attorneys, and updating you about like what this past week has been, because yeah, in the last video I said, yeah, tomorrow is the call. That tomorrow is the call was 6 days ago. So much has happened, and I have driven so many hours in order to get certain things like apostilled and certified. And the journey is very bureaucratic, very administrative, but it's so satisfying because I'm taking the steps necessary to get what I want. And I'm excited to share with you about it. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to drop them in the comments and I will answer them in the next video. All right, everybody. See ya.